Let's take this Canon R6 Mark II and build a cinema rig with 32-bit float. The last piece of the build is a secret attachment that I haven't found on any other YouTube video, so stay tuned for that. I'm also going to share why I Frankensteined my camera and what I use it for. So a couple of the main pieces are already put together, but I'm still going to explain each piece and why I got them. Starting off, the first thing that I got for the rig was this small rig cage. Acts like body armor if you bang things around. Also has all these attachment points for the different things that you need to build the gear. And I left this cord here, I'll explain that a little bit later, I just didn't feel like undoing that. Shout out to @DreAnthony for this wrist strap. This thing is a game changer, highly recommend. He also recommended this Nicey Rig base plate, which is a huge reason for the secret attachment that I'm going to go into in just a little bit. But shout out to him, go check him out. I have this small NATO rail right here, allows me to easily slide this top handle. It comes built in, but the reason I got this guy is so that it has an extra stop right here, just a little extra peace of mind. And I have an Swiss plate that allows me to take it off this base really quickly. So this is the clamp and the actual Swiss base plate right here on top. Hey yo, what's up? It's Editor Me. I forgot to say that I almost got the small rig quick release base plate, but in the reviews it said that the legs were wobbly. They can fold in and of itself or whatever, but with the Nicey Rig one, you set it down and it's solid. Alright, let's get back into it. This is the base. It's composed up of 6 different pieces. 7 if you include the other 15mm rod. These are 12-inch rods, and it goes into the small rig base plate right here. Has the holes, and you just wind these up to tighten them down. I have this lens support system because sometimes I rock a 70 to 200, and it just gives the lens a little bit more stability. Just raise it up, whatever, clamp it down. On the back, we have the V-mount battery plate. Slides onto the 15mm rods. Same thing with the lens support system. And on the bottom of the base plate is this Nicey Rig that DreAnthony recommended. This is the Manfrotto base type. Allows me to easily put it on and take it off my tripod, which is the Small Rig AD01. Once you have everything nice and tight put together, minus this lens support, that's when I go ahead and slap the body on there. Small rig NATO rail top handle with the small rig monitor mount. Slide it on, and that little button just gives me extra peace of mind in case for some reason this will loosen up. Next up, we have a small rig NATO rail side handle. I don't think that they make this anymore. They have the kind that screws in, but if you can find one with a NATO rail, crucial for easy on and off access. But I did link another one in my Kitco link, which all the stuff in here is actually in the description. This is a 99 watt-hour newer V-mount battery. Has the perfect amount of attachments for everything that I need. Slides on very easily. For the lens, rocking a 15 to 35 RF 2.8. For the lens support, just push up on that thing as you rotate this guy to secure it. I don't use this extra ring, so that's why I have it on there. Otherwise, I'd probably just scoot this back right here. But the way this is, when I have everything attached, it's perfectly balanced, and that makes for smoother shots. Using the Atomos Ninja V Plus as my monitor, it is a little overkill for what I do, but I just love all the features that it has, that it comes with. I love the 1TB SSD. and it's overall just really easy to use. And I got this monitor as a bundle from B&H, which I will link in the Kitco as well. For lots of extra functionality, I used the Small Rig Mini Mat Box. I think the normal one or the slightly bigger one is just too big for what I need. That's what she said. And I'm rocking a newer, I think it's a 2-stop ND filter. Another thing that I love about this mini mat box is I can still put filters on the actual lens itself. And right now I have the lens cap on, which is nice to keep all that extra dust out when I'm not using it. Next up is our shotgun mic of choice. This is the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. Slap it on this side right schmear. And one of the greatest attachments that came with the Ninja V is this Atom X thing, monitor mount. I actually use it to mount the Zoom F3. Slide it right here on the back of the top handle. Screw it in nice and tight. This little piece comes out and I put it on backwards. Okay, this little piece slides out, boom. And I attach it to the back of the Zoom. Only part that sketches me out, you can see that there's already an imprint on there, is that this lip right here, it doesn't go over the Zoom F3 like I wish it did so that it can be flat. So what it's doing is actually pressing up against the Zoom, which I don't like, but it hasn't broke yet. I've just been real gentle and screwing it in until it is the least tight as I can get it without it spinning around. And then it just clips. Right into that monitor mount, and it pivots out of the way for stuff. Next, I'm going to show you all the wires and everything that I need to power this rig. First up is this XLR to 3.5mm jack for the Zoom. Two 3.5 to 3.5mm jacks. One for the Rode going into the Zoom, and then the Zoom going into the camera. And the reason for that is so that whatever 32-bit float that is recorded in the Zoom will have a line to the camera so that I can easily sync it up in post. This wire that I left on the rig is an 8V to 8V, go into the dummy battery on the monitor to the 8V on the newer V-mount battery. To power the actual camera, I use a dummy battery to D-tap. For this longer wire, I will wrap it up twice so that everything's nice and tight. Cable management, whether it's your camera rig or your PC, under your PC, whatever it is, cable management is important. Because if everything is nice and tight and out of the way, then there's less room for error, as in pinching the wires, bending and breaking them. Speaking of less room for errors, I made an error whenever I wrapped the dummy battery around the bottom of the whole rig, which you're about to see in a minute. But this is a properly wrapped dummy battery on this rig. The bottom is free from any obstruction, so whenever I go to set it down, it stays solid, flat, and sturdy. All right. Oh, and we need to power the monitor to the camera, so that is an HDMI to, I think that's a micro USB. Micro USB goes to the camera. This goes into the import of the monitor. My last cord is a USB-C to USB-C. It connects the Zoom to the V-mount battery to power the Zoom. And that's my rig with 32-bit float. Oh, you thought I forgot the super secret attachment? There's tiny little D-rings, and they fit perfectly on these 1/4-20 holes on the Nicey Rig base plate here. Put one in the front, and the other one goes on this side on the base plate. So now you're thinking, all right, cool, man, you got a couple D-rings. That's pretty sick. Why though? Well, the reason is because of the bag that I use to carry this rig in. It also has a strap that I use to connect to these D-rings. And what that strap does is give me another contact point for more stable shots, but I can also use it to just relieve some of the weight in between shots, which is awesome. And the bag is awesome too, because all I have to do is unhook some of the cables, undo the microphone and the side handle, and it just slides perfectly and snugly into this cushiony bag. Very secure. There's some side pockets and some extra space for, the crap that I unhooked. Versatile, multi-purpose bag. The total cost of this rig is, I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to put that total somewhere around here. Just know that it does vary on the parts, especially the camera body, the lens you choose, the monitor, your audio. Everything else is relatively affordable. I do like small rig because they work well with all the other small rig parts, and they're well built and relatively affordable. You don't need to get everything all at once. In fact, I recommend that you don't. I started off small, and as I needed things, as my interests and stuff grew, is when I slowly acquired everything that you see here. I started off with camera, lens, mic, and then it was the cage, top handle, and monitor. And then after a while, maybe another year or two, get gigs and seeing how I can improve my workflow and everything like that is when I got this base, the V-mount, and matte box and all that. And then I got the zoom. The way I justify buying new gear is if that piece of gear is going to pay itself off in the next job or two that I do. Is it going to make my workflow easier? How's it going to help, Another tip that helps is making a list of gear that you want to get and prioritize them from top to bottom and just work your way down. But also, is it going to help? So the reason I built this rig is because I shoot a lot of interviews, and it's really easy for me to stick on my tripod, take it off, shoot some handheld B-roll, stick it back on. I'm starting to get into weddings, and it's the same thing. If I stick this on a tripod for the ceremony as the back cam, and also use it for B-roll, handheld, in between things. The movements that you get is a lot different from a gimbal. It's more real, like you're in the action, because there is some jitters no matter how steady you are. Of course, you can fix it with in-body stabilization, lens stabilization, warp stabilizer in post, all that. But there's something more authentic. There's beauty in the imperfections. Something like a gimbal can be a crutch because all your shots are going to be smooth, but everything is going to look very clinical and commercial-like. So there's that. In some ways, it's a little bit easier to use than a gimbal, even though it's a bit heavier. There's a lot more grips and places to hold on to get to the angle that you need. Earlier this year, I made a short video on handheld stable tips, just using the body, the lens, and the camera strap that it came with. But if you add more weight, that is another way to get better handheld stable shots. Just adding weight and letting gravity do its thing. And you just have way more contact points. See? Check my bullet points. Attachments. Did I say anything about attachments? It's very versatile because of all the things and attachments that you can do with it. Alright, well, I think that about does it. That's my rig. Hope you guys liked it. Peace.